the number 1 Cochran Motorsports pace truck pulls away, and in tow is the field for your first of 2 Bs. They'll be going 20 laps. Once again, top 2 finishers will advance into the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100.
Your attention, please. Jeff Smith from Racing Radios, please report to the 1 car of Charlie Schwartz. Jeff Smith of Racing Radios, please report to the 1 car of Charlie Schwartz. Thank you.
So it's Steve Lucas in the 5L and Clint Kaufman in the 2, your front row setters. There's the 49 of Brian Ruhlman and the number 82 of Andy Freeze. In the 3rd row, the 65 of Doug Hall, the 31 of Denny Chamberlain. In row 4, the number 4 of Ed Ferree and Shannon Webb in the number 17. Row 5, the T8 of Mark Bonnell and the 1F of Jim Fleming. Then it's Bob Waring Sr. in the 1W and the 66 of Johnny Verdon. Following them are the 07R of Brent Raybergen and the H4 of Frank Wilson. Next row back, Don Gross in the 75 and Bob Mosky in the 33. Then it's the 34 of Jeff Wood, the F1 of Scott Figler. Behind them, the 16 of Junior Simmons and the 56 of Sonny Fisher. Then it's the 32 of Scott Hartley, the 00 of Chuck Efall, the 0 of Jack Walker, the 12D scheduled is Doug Dodd, and the 59 of Dub Barnhouse. As we see the 12D, Doug Dodd, who made solid contact in his heat race with the guardrail over in turns 1 and 2, not making the call. So 20 laps for the first B. Once again, top 2 will make it into the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100. We're underway for the first B Consi. Steve Lucas grabs the lead and takes them out of 1 and 2 down the back chute for the first time. Clint Kaufman in the 2C. Running second, Brian Ruhlman in the 49 in that 3rd spot. Doug Hall in the 65 running 4th, then the 31 of Denny Chamberlain, as he's trying to hold off the 4 of Ed Ferree. There's Mark Bonnell in the T8 as they come by for the end of 2. Still Steve Lucas, Clint Kaufman, and Brian Ruhlman. Doug Hall in the 65, trying to close in on the 49 of Brian Ruhlman for that 3rd place. 59 of Barnhouse well off the pace over in turn 3. In the 59 ends up taking it at pit side. As Lucas in that number 5L still setting the pace. Meanwhile, Clint Kaufman in the 2C running second. Doug Hall still trying to work on the 49 of Brian Ruhlman. Ruhlman holding down 3rd, Hall in 4th. Chamberlain in the 31 still running 5th ahead of Marie. Bonnell. And then it is the 82 Andy Freeze. And the 07 of Raybergen, followed by Don Gross in the 75. But still, Steve Lucas continuing to stretch his lead out on the 2C of Clint Kaufman. Still controlling third spot as Doug Hall trying to find a hot spot around the track and get around it and move up a spot. Can't quite do it. Ferree still running in that 5th place. The number 17 follows, and that is Shannon Webb. Bob Mosky in the 33, the F1 of Scott Figler, as we're looking for the green flag to fly once again. Back to racing action. Looks to close in on the 2C of Kaufman for that second spot. He brings Doug Hall in the 65 right along. Lucas well in that first spot. As now a battle starting to shape up for that runner-up spot in that last transfer into the Hillbilly 100. And there goes Ruben down the back straightaway on the low side of the 2 of Kaufman, and he takes over that second spot. Brian Ruhlman in the 49 into second ahead of Kaufman. Doug Hall still in 4th, then Ed Ferree, Denny Chamberlain, Mark Pinnell, Ray Bergen, Gross. Now Doug Hall doing the same thing this time around to Clint Kaufman. Kaufman dropping back to that 4th spot. And out comes the yellow flag once again. Yellow out for a spin in turn 2. And 9 to go in this 20-lapper for the first of 2B. Steve Lucas in the 5L from the get-go has led the way. And he's looking to bring him down for the last 9. Meanwhile, Brian Ruhlman in the 49. Trying to stave off the 65 of Doug Hall. As the 2 of Clint Kaufman way up high in turn 2, coasting along, as that will bring the yellow flag back out real quick like. Of course, Ed Ferree in that number 4 has been moving up, so he's trying to throw that number 4 into that 3-way battle for the top 2 spots. So far, Steve Lucas being dominant in this B main. Denny Chamberlain in the 31 also hanging right there as we get back underway. A little bit sideways is Lucas, as Ruben thought about charging hard into turn 3, but he decided to hold on and hang on to that second spot for the time being and make a run later. As he knows the next number 65 of Doug Hall is right behind him. Now Hall slipping a little bit, and that opens up some breathing room for Brian Ruhlman in that second spot, but Hall comes charging right back with the number 4 of Ed Ferree right on his bumper. Chamberlain, Bernal, Gross, Raybergen. As now the T8 working the low side of the 31 of Chamberlain, and Mark moving into that 5th spot. Lucas now with a comfortable lead as he brings about a 4. Ruben also starting to stretch that second place margin out as Doug Hall trying to roll down low. Now he charges into 3 and pulls up on the bumper of Ruben, but Ruben able to pull away coming down the straight. Coming up one more time around for your first of 2B leaders. Checkered flag up. Here's your winner. Steve Lucas, second place going to go to Brian Ruben in the 49T. Doug Hall able to take third spot. So your top 2 finishers that will go into the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100. Coming in second, he will start 25th in the feature race. The number 49 out of Russell, Pennsylvania, Brian Ruben. And your winner of the first of the 2Bs, he will start 21st in the feature out of Tyler Mountain, West Virginia, the 5L. Put your hands together for Steve Lucas, the winner of the first of 2Bs.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's both B mains are being sponsored by Outerwear's Pre-Filters of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And the winner of today's B main, Steve Lucas, displaying the Outerwear's Pre-Filters decal. He'll pick up $50 extra bonus courtesy of Mr. Steve Schussman, president of Outerwear's Pre-Filters. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the second B main now on the speedway, and this is going to be a real dandy. Starting up front, car number B4, it'll be Jack Boggs out of Gratiot, Kentucky. On the outside, it'll be Todd Andrews out of Duke Center, Pennsylvania. Second row, we'll put Charlie Swartz and Butch Hartman in row number 2. Third row will be Bobby Burgess and Jimmy Gentry. Row number 5, it'll be Dave Groves and Donnie Moran. Row 6, we'll put John Mason and Ryan Markham. Row number 7, Bob Adams Jr. and Jeff Robinson. Ohio's Chuck Maloney and Alan Baker will make up row number 9. Bob Salathy out of Bedford, Pennsylvania, and Mike Johnson looks like has scratched. Don Clark in the 1C, the 2 car of Don White, Steve Baker. Scheduled to start in the 84 automobile. Bob Waring Jr. has scratched. The 100 of C.H. Fitzgerald also in the show. Jim Gurnick out of Wisconsin in the 37J will make up the remaining part of this 20-lap second B main event of the afternoon. 7 or 8 cars. Should be interesting. Will Donnie Moran miss the show? Moran starting in the 8th spot. Moran starting back in 8th. Boggs pretty good shape. Swartz is in pretty shape. Gentlemen, attention in the pits. First call for Pro Stocks. First call for Pro Stocks. Gentlemen, bring the Pro Stock cars up immediately. Mike's set to go. Good. This is going to be a dandy, I think.
A lot of good guys not going to make it in. As Boggs and Andrews will set the pace, 20 laps. Once again, only two, the top two, will go into the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100 coming up here at Pennsboro Speedway. We're underway. Hartman in the 75, high through 1 and 2, dropping back a few spots. Jack Boggs in the B4 leads them around for the completion of 1. Charlie Schwartz into that second spot. In that third spot, trying to regain second place back. Charlie Schwartz holding on to it right now as the B4 of Jack Boggs begins to move away from the field. Meanwhile, Bob Burgess in the 34 in that fourth spot ahead of the B5 of Dave Groves. But a good battle shaping up right now between Charlie Schwartz and the number 1 and the 42 of Todd Andrews. Hartman in the 75 and out the window. He's in deep trouble. He's going to try to make it into the pits. Jack Boggs in the B4 really starting to stretch his lead out now as Schwartz and Todd Andrews along with the 34 of Burgess battling each other for that second, third, and fourth spots. Jim Gentry in the 14 up there in fifth. Jack Boggs checking out on the field, more than a straightaway lead, and that's going to vanish as the yellow flag is out.
Quickly to get around Todd Andrews and Charlie Schwartz. We're ready to go back under green.
Schwartz and Andrews battling each other for that second spot. Schwartz with the upper hand for the most part of the race as Black Jack Boggs stretching his lead out right on the green flag. Here comes Donnie Moran, able to move up one more spot. Moran getting by Adams in the 55. Meanwhile, Andrews trying to stick his nose underneath the one of Schwartz, and that's almost allowing Gentry a spot in there for that third place. Gentry staying right close in case something happens to your second and third place runners as Andrews gives Schwartz a jolt as they go into turn 1. Andrews telling Charlie, get that thing moving. I'm right here behind you. I got competition behind me that I don't want getting around me. Halfway point. As Boggs in the B4. Able to once again pull away. racing John Mason, the 72, spinning on the back straightaway. He tried to get underneath Dave Groves. They made a little bit of contact, and the number 72 of John Mason out of Millersburg spins around, bringing the yellow flag out. 14, Donnie Moran in the 99, 10 laps to go. 5. That is the 3 of Jeff Robinson. Chuck Maloney in the 77. Ryan Markham in the 5. Clark in the 1C as we're back to green flag action. Donnie Moran in the 99 with his sight set on the rear end of the 14 of Jim Gentry, trying to get into the 4th spot. That's the first thing of business for Donnie. But once again, Jack Boggs and the crew hooking this thing up real good here in this B main in the B4. As he's simply dominant here in this second B feature. Todd Andrews in the 42, now starting to drop back a little bit off of Charlie Schwartz in the number 1 for that 2nd and 3rd spot. Gentry still running 4th, with Moran in 5th, then Adams in 6th. Boggs almost a straightaway lead once again. Schwartz still holding down 2nd spot. 5 laps to go. Flag would give him 5 laps to go. Now it looks like Todd Andrews in the 42 knows he's running out of time and going to try to make a serious bid for that runner-up spot as they charge into 1 and 2. Charging Charlie holds him off. Down the back chute into 3 and 4 once again. Coming up this time around. Boggs with a great big lead. Charlie Schwartz strengthening his spot in 2nd place. As Andrews continues to run 3rd, then Gentry, Donnie Moran. Checkered flag up. There's your winner, Jack Boggs. Charlie Schwartz coming in 2nd, followed by Todd Andrews, Jim Gentry, Donnie Moran, Adams, and then Jeff Robinson. So your top 2 finishers in the 2nd of 2 Bs. Coming in 2nd, the number 1 of Charlie Schwartz out of Beckley, West Virginia. out of Grayson. Put your hands together for the B4 of Jack Boggs. So following that, the 23 of Chet Alexander and his dad, Dean Alexander, father and son. The son in the green, number 23, and Pop in the black and blue, number 23. That is the 17 of Charlie Duncan.
With Jeff McDonald out of Harrisville, West Virginia, and Mike Cruzy out of Roseville will make up the next row, and Terry Shane out of Smithville, along with Don Conley out of Brewster, Ohio, in car number 57. Don Rush will be in car number 55, and the other Racing Eaton family, the Racing Eatons out of St. Clairs, will be in car number 40.
That is Russ Frohnapfel in the 45, the 18 of Todd Wolf, the 00 of Steve Steele, the 14 of Ken Bash out of Clymer, Pennsylvania, and on your tail, on the starting tail, the number 185 out of Worcester, Ohio, DJ Miller.
As the Outhouse 30, the Wheeling Tire, car of Doug Eaton on the front row, the Rush Construction Company of Butch McGill. The JR's Truck Service, car of Scotty Peltz. Denny Denman in the 99. Denman, he has knocked at the door at this win numerous times. Denman liked to win it this year. He's starting in a good spot in car number 91. Took Wells, keep your eye on him. He always runs real well here. He in that 187 car.
Denny Denman, the fast qualifier yesterday. He moved up 2 spots in the dash. Took Wiles, the track champion, up at Buckeye Speedway. So things should be real interesting. $1,000 await the winner of this 30-lap event. And that is big money for your pro stocks. As the number 1 Cochran Motorsports pace truck pulls to the infield, Eaton and McGill bring them through 3 and 4. We're underway. Outhouse number 30. $1,000 to the winner on the way, and it's Butch McGill grabbing the lead into 1 and 2 and leads the pack down the back straightaway for the first time. Scott Peltz in the 7 in 3rd, and getting up high a little bit and is the 1E of Doug Eaton through turn 4. That allows about 3 cars to get around. Peltz, Denman, and Adam, all 3 get around the 91 of Denman, sliding high over in turn 2. As Eaton has to slow off and almost collects the 187 of Took Wiles. Big pop. All 3 getting mixed up, and Wolf in the 18 getting the worst of the wear. As you see, a lot of damage on that number 18 Pro Stock of Todd Wolf out of Crooksville. And 23 is Chet Alexander. Charlie Duncan in the 17 as we work on lap 3 as the green is back out once again. Between the leaders, Scott Peltz ramming into the back of Butch McGill in the number 10, sends him flying right in front of the field. leader, the 91 of Denman, way up high in turns 1 and 2. Doug Eaton, the pole setter, reclaims the lead in the 1E. Took Wiles in the 187, now into that second spot. Denman in the 91 third, then Mark Uller in the U2. Alan Baker in the 19, Dean Alexander in the black and blue 23. Now took Wiles in that 187. Closing the gap in on St. Clairsville's Doug Eaton. Wild action back in the back of the pack as the 40 of Eaton, the 10 of McGill, and McDonald in the 16, slicing and dicing back in the back of the pack. Doug Eaton in the 1E, still your race leader. The 187 of took Wiles out of Creston, still trying to work his way into the lead. Meanwhile, Denny Denman in the 91 coming back up into third. Mark Uller in the U2 trying to hold off Dean Alexander in the 23. Three abreast coming out of 2 back here on the back straightaway. The 49 of Mike Corsi, the 40 of Mike Eaton, and Butch McGill in the number 10, all battling. Good battle for that 4th spot on the back straightaway also. Mark Uller in the U2 and Dean Alexander in the 23. Back and forth. Wild action in the back straightaway. Butch McGill moving up a couple spots as the 45 has dropped from competition. Fronapple dropping from competition, and up in smoke goes the 44 of Terry Shane. Terry Shane lighting up a cigar and smoking the number 44. As Eaton will set the pace, looking for the green as they come through 3 and 4. And we're back to Outhouse 30 action. Still working on the U2 of Mark Uller for that 4th spot. Meanwhile, Doug Eaton setting the pace in the 1E ahead of Took Wiles. Into the lead of Doug Eaton in the 1E. Out of 4 they come. Took looking to the inside, looking to the outside, heading into turn 1. Oh, spinning is the 1E of Eaton, and Took Wiles able to get by. Denny Denman in the 91 also able to get by. Big mistake by Doug Eaton. Let the 1E get away from him in turn 4. Loses 2 spots as Took Wiles out of Creston, Ohio, your race leader in the 187. Denny Denman, your fast qualifier from yesterday, chasing now in second spot while Doug Eaton tries to get back into it. Meanwhile, Butch McGill in that number 10, after going back to the tail, has worked his way up to that sixth spot as he's running right behind Mark Uhler and Dean Alexander. Halfway point, 15 down, 15 to go. In the 187, Denman in the 91, and Eaton in the 1E, kind of spreading themselves from the field, but four cars battling for that fourth spot. The U2 of Mark Uhler, now the 10 of McGill, trying to get underneath the 23 of Dean Alexander, and he does it. Also the number 40 of Mike Eaton, trying to work the low side, and he still behind Alexander, that number 23. Now McGill in the 10 alongside the U2 as they charge into 3 and 4. And spinning is Eaton in the number 40. That will bring out the yellow flag. The 40 of Mike Eaton from St. Clairsville looping out. That brings out the yellow. Place is actually the U2 of Mark Uhler. Then it's the 10 of Butch McGill. Last completed lap, Uhler goes back ahead of Butch McGill. Butch McGill in that number 10 up into that fourth spot as he finally worked his way around the U2 of Mark Uhler. Meanwhile, Denman trying to hang on to the bumper of the 187 of Took Wiles, your race later. Eaton still running in third as McGill trying to close the gap in on Eaton for that third spot. Meanwhile, Mark Uhler in the U2 and Dean Alexander in the 23 continue their battle on. Charlie Duncan in the 17, Alan Baker in the 19, McDonald in the 16. Then it's Corsi in the 49, Eaton in the 40, Steele in the 00. You got the lap car, the 14 of Bash in there. And also Don Conley in the 57. In the 1E, Doug Eaton sliding a little bit high over in turn 2. That allows Butch McGill to close in the number 10. Meanwhile, Took Wiles in the 187 continues to lead as now he's starting to stretch his lead out on the number 91 of Denny Denman. So it's Wiles and Denman. And then a battle shaping up for third place, Doug Eaton and the 10 of Butch McGill. And still battling for position, the U2 of Mark Uller and Dean Alexander in the 23 down the front chute. Charlie Duncan in the 17 trying to join those two to make it a threesome battle. Now into some lap competition. Took Wiles trying to find a way around some lap competition. Meanwhile, Denny Denman also with a lap car in front of him. Wiles gets by one lap car as Denman having troubles, and that's going to allow Doug Eaton to close back in for that runner-up spot. Looky here at Butch McGill. He comes out of nowhere and leapfrogs over Denham and Eaton for that runner-up. White flag up. White flag up. As took Wiles with almost a straightaway lead. Now the 10 of Butch McGill in second spot. Denman dropping back to third. Then it's Doug Eaton. Checkered flag up. Here's your winner of the Outhouse 30, took Wiles. As the top 5 finishers had to cross the scales to check things out, make sure they was legal. And that's all we have for you. We just have the top 2 for you. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's unbuckling. He's a happy, happy guy. In the 187, the Took Mobile out of Creston, Ohio. Put your hands together for Mr. Took Wiles. Take it away, Pete.
Hey, down in Victory Circle with a happy crew and a real happy driver. He has got a smile on his face a mile long. Right over here, ladies and gentlemen, Took Wiles, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations, my man. You finally did it. Congratulations.
Yeah, I finally did it. I just expected to finish the race and I would have been happy.
You know, Took, we've run this now event 5 years. The first event was a big event for you because you went down the front straightaway on your roof, end over end. That was a big day, but today, 4 years later, it's got to feel pretty good. I'll tell you what, cars seem to work great.
Beautiful. We worked on it. I got to thank the pit crew. They spent a lot of time. My sponsors, McIlvain Trucking and Ruth Cabinet Mart. They're down here tonight. Santa Mara Oil, General Tires. And my mom and dad, my wife, and you name it. I gotta thank everybody.
I tell you, it has been a great season for you. It's been one of those dream seasons, you might say, and what a way to top it off here. Tell us a little bit about the race. When you got in the car today, did you think, hey, I have a good shot? Track's been a little bit tough to pass all day, but you know, you worked your way up there.
Yeah, the start of the race, they took off, they left me. I figured I was just gonna hang in there, run 5th, 4th, and they just started dropping off. And I just hung in there and stayed low, and it paid off, I guess.
Any changes from yesterday for the qualifying runs and the qualifying heat races? Did you make any major changes to the race car?
No, we didn't even worship.
Congratulations, man.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, Took Wiles, ladies and gentlemen, right here. And we are set to go. Hey, some other racing events coming up on October 1st and 2nd. Up at the Hagerstown Speedway, it's the Oktoberfest for late models, sprint cars, and dirt modifieds. That's
all those tickets should be turned in down at the picnic table down by the concession area. All those tickets turned in to claim your prizes down by the picnic table down by the concession area.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go with this 26th running of the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100, carrying the McCreary colors up front. Arkansas's Bill Fry. Ladies and gentlemen, how about it? Everyone up off of your feet, and let's give them a round as they slowly work down the front straightaway. Up front, Steve Francis on the outside. Field slowly works under caution. Francis, Ashland, Kentucky on the outside. Bill Fry up front, second row will be Sugar Grove, Pennsylvania, Chubb Frank. Nathan Durbrow on the outside. Third row will put Tim Hitt, West Virginia's Tennessee, Scott Bloomquist on the outside. Steve Shaver and Dave Johnson make up the next row. Shaver out of West Virginia, Pennsylvania's Dave Johnson. Louisiana's Freddie Smith and Westminster, Maryland's Gary Stoller make up the next row. Harrisonburg, North Carolina's Rodney Combs, and Rockbridge, Bath, Virginia's Booper Bear in the 00. Warren, Pennsylvania's Ron Davies, and Zanesville, Ohio's Bart Hartman. Parkersburg, West Virginia, Mike Balzano, and Cross Junction, Virginia's Rodney Franklin in the 24F. Brad Malkett in Stroudsburg, Ohio, in car number M1, Cambridge, Ohio's Ty Long. Larry Moore and Lynn Geisler make up the next row. Iowa's Johnny Johnson in car number 99, and West Virginia, Steve Lucas. Kentucky's Jack Boggs, Rick Eckert out of York, Pennsylvania, the highest stars points driver not to make the field in the field. The last row will be Beckley, West Virginia's Charlie Swartz, and Brian Ruhlman out of Russell, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention now to turns 3 and 4 as the number 1 Cochran pace truck starts to pick up the pace. We should have the green flag this time around, Mike.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to go. The 26th annual of the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100 at legendary Pennsboro Speedway is underway. Leads him through for the first lap. Jumps, Frank's running second. And then it's a 15 of Steve Francis in third. Rest of the pack starting to stretch themselves out. Bill Fry, your race leader in the number 66. Chubb Frank running second. Now Tim Hitt in the 68, trying to work on the 15 of Steve Francis for third. Nathan Durbrow right behind, and Scott Bloomquist still in 6th spot with Steve Schaefer in 7th. Freddie Smith in 8th. Combs in that 75, holding down 9th spot right now. A couple of battles look to be shaping up. Back there for that 3rd spot, the 15 of Steve Francis. Trying to hold off Tim Hitt in the 68. Tim taking the 68 down low. A little bit sideways is the 15 of Steve Francis. Hitt trying to pull alongside, can't quite do it. Meanwhile, Bill Fry with about a 2-car length lead over Chubb Franks. Hitt, Durbrow, Bloomquist, Schaefer, Smith, Combs, Johnson, then Bear. Stewart running next in the 44 then Hartman, Davies. And then Franklin ahead of Balzano, Malkut. Geisler back there. Tim Hitt in the 68 in the third spot as Chubb Franks trying to work and keep the 66 of Bill Fry in reach. Still Fry, Franks, Tim Hitt now into third ahead of Francis, Durborough, Bloomquist, Schaefer, Freddie Smith, Combs, Johnson, Bear, Stuller, Hartman, Davies, Franklin in the 24. There's Balzano, Malcutt, Moore, Geisler, Ty Long, Steve Lucas in the 5L, Charlie Schwartz, and Ruhlman round out your field. Bill Fry out of Greenbar, Arkansas, still your race leaders. Chubb Franks still giving chase. Tim Hitt in the number 68 has been closing the gap on their two leaders as he's running third. Then it's Steve Francis in the 15, Nathan Durborough in the 24, Scott Bloomquist in the 18. Sixth place, or make that seventh place, Steve Schaefer. Then it's Freddie Smith, Rodney Combs, Davey Johnson, Cooper Bear, Gary Stuller, Hartman, Davies, Franklin in the 24, Balzano, Malcutt, Moore, Geisler, Long, Lucas, Eckert. After Eckert, it's Boggs and Schwartz and Ruhlman, along with Johnny Johnson in the 99. Now Chubb Frank closing in on the 66 of Bill Fry. Chubb Frank's in that one star, reeling in the 66 of Bill Fry as they head into 3 and 4. Lot of contact in turn 4 between the leaders. Fry able to hang on, but here comes Tim Hitt in the 68 up to third. Fry, Franks, and Hitt, 1, 2, and 3. Francis in the 15, a distant fourth right now. Then Durborough and Bloomquist battling for 5th and 6th. Schaefer and Freddie Smith, 7th and 8th. Then Rodney Combs in 9th, and Davey Johnson round out your top 10. Now Bill Fry stretching his lead to about 3 car lengths over Chubb Franks. Still Fry and Franks once again stretching his lead out to about 4 or 5 car lengths. Tim Hitt now trying to work on Chubb Franks for that runner-up spot. Franks is still holding down fourth. As Scott Bloomquist in the 18 trying to work on Nathan Derberol for that 5th spot. Steve Schaefer, Freddie Smith, Rodney Combs, Davey Johnson, and Booper Bear in the 00. Then Gary Stuhler and Hartman. As Bloomquist now getting around the 24 Derberol for that 5th place. Bloomquist trying to come on now. From the get-go, it's been Bill Fry. Now Tim Hitt looks like he's ready to make a serious run as we got somebody up in smoke in 3 and 4. I believe that's his Z55 of Long. Ty Long able to pull it in as we stay green. So we lose 1 so far. And still not into lap competition. That's saying something for the field. Fry in the 66, while Hitt still trying to work his way around Chubb Franks for 2nd. Now Scott Bloomquist in the 18, up behind the 15 of Steve Francis. Scott Bloomquist trying to move into that 4th spot. Schaefer still holding 7th ahead of Smith, while Davey Johnson moving in on Rodney Combs. Tim Hitt taking a look to the outside, ducking back behind the number 1 of Franks. Meanwhile, Bloomquist in the 18, getting a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 2. And loses quite a few car lengths to the 15 of Francis. Still 1, 2, and 3. Fry, Franks, and Hitt. Once again, Franks and Hitt trying to close in on Fry. Top 6 is kind of checked out on the rest of the field. Pretty good gap between 6th place of Gerberow and 7th place right now of Schaefer. But following Schaefer, he's got a gaggle of cars right behind him as Freddie Smith in the 00, then Combs in the 75, Davey Johnson the 1J, Booper Bear in the 00, Gary Stewart in the 44, Bart Hartman in the 11, Davies in the 71D, Franklin in the 24, Balzano in the E1, Malcutt in the M1, Moore in the 14, Cochran in the number 1 Cochran, Lucas in the 5. Then it's Eckert and Boggs. Charlie Schwartz off the base on the back straightaway in the number 1. Charlie Schwartz slowing in turn 3. As the leaders come up to him, Schwartz takes it to the infield. charge on Fry. Meanwhile, back here in the 4th spot, Francis and Bloomquist kind of sneaking up on the top 3. They're closing the gap on the top 3. Norborough still running 6th as Francis, or make that Schaefer and Smith going at it back here in the 6th and 7th and 8th spots. There's Davey Johnson, Rodney Combs, Bart Hartman, Gary Stuhler, Bear, Davis, Franklin, Balzano, Moore, Cochran, Malcolm, Lucas, Jack Boggs, then Rick Eckert, and Ruhlman and Johnson. And then the leaders coming up. Number 99 of Johnny Johnson now becoming a lap car as the leaders catching up to the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Bloomquist finally gets his way around Steve Francis. Scott Bloomquist now into 4th spot. As Scott has his eyes set on the top 4, now we got the yellow flag out, the number 75 up in 3 and 4. Taking his machine pit side. Yeah, it must be. He's got his helmet off now, so Rodney Combs, his run at the 26th Annual Hillbilly 100 is over. Meanwhile, Jack Boggs here on the front straightaway in the B4 coming to a stop.
On the field, Booper Bear in the 00 car. Well, tough break for Scott Bloomquist. Bloomquist finally getting around Steve Francis. We back up one previous lap. Bloomquist will have to go in behind Francis. We back up one previous lap. Tough break. Bloomquist has been working on Francis for about the last 18 laps. We're ready to go back under green. 41 laps are down. Mike, we're working on lap 42 coming up.
Got them spread out. Let's see if this is going to be a good restart or not. Leaders were ready to go. Some of the rest of the pack wasn't. We're underway. As Bill Fry continues to set the pace. Chubb Frank still chasing while Tim Hitt is in 3rd as Scott Bloomquist once again going to have to find a way and working around the number 15 of Steve Francis for that 4th spot. Nathan Norborough in the 24 is running 6th. Then it's the 30 of Steve Schaefer. The 00 Freddie Smith. Davey Johnson in the 1J. Currently 9th while Bart Hartman is into the top 10. As your leaders come through 3 and 4 down the front straightaway. Fry, Franks, Hitt, and a yellow flag.
Caution rolls back out with the 24 of Nathan Durbrow slowing on the back chute. Here comes the 24 car, the Ray Vest excavating automobile coming in. Nathan had slowed going down the back chute, turning the car in. It doesn't look good for the team out of Hagerstown, Maryland. Once again, tough break for Scott Bloomquist. Getting around Steve Francis once again. I like to hear that conversation on the radio between him and Barry Wright right now.
On the last completed lap this time, the number 18 of Bloomquist had got by the 15 of Francis. Mike Balzano in the E1, then Larry Moore in the 14. 44 laps in, 44 in, 56 to go. Back to the green flag, and race action continues on. Oh, Freddie Smith getting down below Schaefer. Schaefer getting sideways in 1 and 2. Has to back off to straighten himself up. And Schaefer losing a couple of spots. As now the 15 of Francis way up high in 3 and 4. He's dropping back a few spots. So now it is Fry, Franks, Hitt, Bloomquist, Smith, Johnson, and Hartman. That's your first 7. Francis, Schaefer, and Stuhler round out your top 10. Now Schaefer trying to work on Francis to move up a spot. And into the guardrail, backing into it. Got the flat tire after smacking into the guardrail. Mike Balzano in the E1.
Mike's okay. Look at he's all right. He put a pretty hard ride into the guardrail. Luckily, the car just did not hit it square, rode it all the way down the side. Lucky break for Mike there, I tell you. Well, right around 100 miles an hour. Looks like the green flag next time around. Tell you what, all eyes of this capacity crowd are right on that racetrack. Bill?
Light pressure on them, but as we close in on the halfway point here, they'll start to put more pressure on that number 66 of Bill Fry. Looking for the green flag. We're back to racing activity here at Pennsboro Speedway in the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100. Keep your eye on the 18 of Scott Bloomquist. It's been a 3-way battle mostly, but Bloomquist going to try to get up there and make it a 4-way battle. As Freddie Smith thinking about, hey, don't let me out. I want to make it a 5-way battle. Then there's Davey Johnson in 6th. Bart Hartman in 7th. Then it's the 15 of Steve Francis in 8th, Steve Schaefer in 9th, and Gary Stuhler in the 44, rounding out your top 10. Then it's Ron Davies, Franklin, Moore, Cochran, Boggs, Malcolm, Eckert, Ruhlman, Lucas, Johnson, and Balzano round out your field. Now Malcott in the M1, slowing down the back straightaway. He's either got a flat tire or something seriously wrong with the M1, and he's going to come to a stop, bringing out the yellow flag. The M1 of Brad Malcott down in turn 4. As the leaders come through 3 and 4, looking to get back to racing action, Bill Fry leads them out as the green once again is shown, and we're back underway. Fry, Franks, and Hitt, your top 3, with Bloomquist, Smith, and Johnson, the next 3. Hartman in 7th. then Francis, Schaefer, Stoller, Davis, and Franklin, followed by Moore, Cochran, Boggs, Eckert, Lucas, Balzano, and Johnson. And now the 49 of Ruhlman with a flat tire down the front straightaway. And that once again brings out the caution flag.
And the 68 may have a suspension problem. Talking about another guy with a problem, looks like Rodney Franklin. Franklin coming in, going to take rear rubber on, but he's going to get left in the pits because we're going green next time, Mike. Franklin should, looks like he's not going to get that rubber off of that 24F.
Rick Eckert quickly back out to join the tail. Interesting move here on Franklin, electing to head it in and take new tires on as the green is ready to come back out. They're not going to be able to get it fired up, or are they? Will they let him back out? Ruhlman in the 49 also moving in the pits. Yes, Franklin does make it out, and he won't go down. Meanwhile, Franks in the 1 star trying to close in once again on that rear bumper of the 66 of Fry. Fry keeping that 66 just like a slot car around here all race long so far. Only has been about 1 lap where he looked like he bobbled, and that was coming out of 2 one time. Other than that, he has been solid race long. Scott Bloomquist in the 18 into that 4 spot as the yellow once again is shown. As Eckert in the 0 once again having problems as he takes that 0 back to the pits.
Out in time, now he's going for the left rear. Franklin wants 2 new skins as the team putting 2 new Hoosiers behind that 24 car. Steve Francis looks like going for new rubber. Also, Francis's car seemed to starting to fade the last 8 or 10 laps. So Steve Francis going to take on new skins also. And still on the same lap, here comes Stoller back out on the pits.
He's going to have to be on it early as they're already in turn 3 looking for the green flag. Back underway for the Turbo Blue Hillbilly 100. Once again, Fry on the restart, able to open some distance between he and Chubb Franks. Tim Hitt once again trying to find a way into that 2nd spot. Scott Bloomquist has settled in 4th in that number 18. Now Tim Hitt looking to the low side of the 1 star of Chubb Franks, decides better against it. Freddie Smith in the 00, running 5th. Rick Eckert in the 0, in trouble over in turn 3. He's able to coast into the infield and out of harm's way. How many fans think the 18 of Scott Bloomquist going to come on here in the last 45 laps? How about Freddie Smith? Anybody still rooting for Freddie Smith out there in the 00? How about Davey Johnson? Over 45 laps to go. We're ready to go. Green flag's out. Once again, as he has every lap, Bill Fry leads him by. While Chubb Franks still holding 2nd. Then it's Tim Hitt in third. Bloomquist in fourth as hit. Closing in close on Franks. Freddie Smith in the 0-0. Then it's Davy Johnson, Bart Hartman, Schaefer, Davis, Moore, Cochran, Boggs, Lucas, Balzano. Lap cars of Johnson and Ruhlman. Then you got Franklin, Francis, and Stuller rounding out your field. Still Bill Fry. About a 5-6 car length lead as they go down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. A little bit more than that now, as once again the 18 of Scott Bloomquist moving on the 68 of Tim Hitt. And now Freddie Smith in the 0-0. Coasting up in turn 2. He's going to try to dart it down in there. Oh, he isn't. Thought he's
going to go off valve service doubles. He wrote tough brake as Smith limps down and the pit crew ready. And the crew will put the right rear on that car. Tough break for the Baton Rouge, Louisiana driver, Freddie Smith. We're going to go green next time. Smith, if he's going to get that tire change, he's better do it very quickly. Bill Fry directing the band, and we're about ready to play the final chapter.
Hopefully we can keep it green. Here we go once again. Fry Franks and Hitt brings him down the front straightaway. And Chubb Franks this time putting his right tires up alongside the rear tires of the 66 of Fry. Can't do any more than that as they charge into 3 and 4 and out down the front chute, staying in that same order. Fry, Franks, Hitt, Bloomquist, Johnson, yellow flag once again.
Scott Bloomquist, Davy J, set to go. Green flag should be out. It will be this time. Here they come.
Brian Ruhlman in the 49 back out. As Fry, still your race later than Franks, Hitt, and Bloomquist, as those four starting to squeeze together just a little bit more. Meanwhile, Davy Johnson in that 5th spot ahead of Bart Hartman, followed by Steve Schaefer, Ron Davies. Larry Moore in the 14, Lynn Geisler. After Geisler is Boggs, Lucas, Balzano, Franklin, Francis, Johnson, Freddie Smith, and Ruhlman. Once again trying to open up a lead as Chubb Franks has Tim Hitt and Scott Bloomquist right in tow. As Davy Johnson solid in that 5th spot, followed by Bart Hartman, but it is Bill Fry, your race leader. See, he sure would like to see the green flag out for a long, long time. Ron Davies making a move on the 30 of Steve Schaefer, moving up a spot into that 7th spot. Now Schaefer coming to a stop. Steve Schaefer in the number 30 looking to have a flat tire as he comes to a stop up in turn 4.
Well, you know, I watched Barry Wright pull that trailer up earlier, about 10 laps from now, and the right rear on Freddie Smith's car went down. Scott radioed in and told Barry, if Freddie's tire went down about 10 laps ago, mine will not make it to the end. So Barry Wright pulled the whole operation up, was ready for Scott, but they hoped that they would make it, but they didn't. Right rear tire goes down on Scott Bloomquist's car as he's back in the pits.
And the green flag is back out as the crew works on the 18. He's going to be lucky if he doesn't go a lap down. So that makes room up there in the top 4 now for Davey Johnson and Bart Hartman. Meanwhile, Larry Moore and Ron Davies has been on the move from the middle of the pack. Ron Davies in the 71D, now starting to work on the 11 of Hartman for that 5th place, as Larry Moore in the 14, then Lynn Geisler right behind them. Boggs and Lucas and Balzano follow, with Franklin, Francis, Smith, Johnson, and Ruhlman behind them. Go to the racing, but you gotta play those mind games also. That's what some of these drivers have been doing, figuring out what tires and what setup to use to be successful or not. And Scott Bloomquist quickly on it, and he's got a long way to come from behind now, as does Freddie Smith. So 1, 2, and 3 still Fry, Franks, and Hitt, with Davey Johnson into 4th ahead of Hartman, Davies, and Moore. There's Geisler, Boggs, Lucas, Balzano, Franklin, Francis, Freddie Smith, Scott Bloomquist, Johnson, Ruhlman, and Schaefer round out the field right now. Still 1, 2, and 3, Fry, Franks, and Hitt. Jump Franks looking to close real close in, but here comes Tim Hitt taking a look to the high side down the front straightaway. Neither driver willing to take that chance at this moment on making a move the way they went around that time, as Fry continues to set the pace. Clicking off as we keep them green, as it's still Bill Fry, Jump Franks, and Tim Hitt, 1, 2, and 3, as they start to stretch themselves away from the rest of the field. That include Davey Johnson and Bart Hartman, followed by Ron Davies, Larry Moore, Lynn Geisler, and then Boggs, Lucas, Balzano, and Franklin. Ahead of Francis, Smith, Bloomquist, Schaefer, Johnson, and Ruhlman. So once again, about a 5-car length lead for Bill Fry, as Chubb Franks trying to hang on ahead of the 68 of Tim Hitt. Last couple times by, Chubb Franks holding his hand out the window, maybe signaling to one of his pit crews down here on the infield. Fry, Franks, and Hitt. 1, 2, and 3. Johnson and Ron Davis has moved up into that 5th spot ahead of Bart Hartman now. Hartman back to 6th in front of Larry Moore and Lynn Geisler, who are followed by Boggs, Lucas, and Franklin. Still 1, and 2, and 3. Fry, Franks, and Hitt. In a little bit of trouble coming out of 4, slipped up high. That allowed Moore and Geisler to get by. Hartman may be losing his tires in the number 11. Got problems over at turn 3. Roman up on top, I believe, of Bloomquist. That's going to bring out the yellow flag. Gentlemen, we need the ambulance on this side of the track. We need an ambulance on this side of the tracks over by the pit exit.
Well, Brian is out of the car, and I do believe I see Scott moving around. He's okay too, I believe, but Brian Roman is out of the car.
Mike Balzano showing some sparks. Sales ticket order or by phone. The phone number is area code 216-683-3606. Once again, the phone number, area code 216-683-3085 to order your tickets for the 14th Annual Dirt Track World Championship, October 15th and 16th, right here at Pennsboro Speedway.
Well, you know, checking out the damage on Scott Bloomquist's car, I definitely would almost have to bet that's the hardest and the most damage that Scott has done in 1994. Man, this track has not been good to him at all. Had a good second, to be precise. Moore 19th, excuse me, Moore starting 19th on the grid in the 14 car. Steve Shaver, who was also involved, looked like some left front sheet metal damage on the 30 car, but Shaver is being able to continue.
A couple times, but not out for the count of 3. Here we go. 84 laps in, 16 to go. See if we can go those last 16 non-stop or not. Chubb Frank quickly trying to make a move on Bill Fry through 1 and 2. That doesn't work. Settles into that second spot once again. Tim Hitt in the 68, still in third. Here comes Davey Johnson. There's a lot of contact coming out of 4. Johnson forces his way through. And Tim Hitt in the 68, bouncing back to about 7th spot as Davey Johnson in the 1J up to 3rd. Balzano in the 1 off the base, looking to take it into the pits. Now, quickly down to a 2-car battle. We'll see how long it takes Johnson to get up there. Bill Fry in the 66 trying to hold off the #1 star of Chubb Franks. Franks a little bit loose down the back straightaway. Gives Fry a couple of car lengths advantage once again. Up into that 4th spot, Larry Moore has improved to the 5th spot ahead of Lynn Geisler and Tim Hitt. Then it's Hartman, Boggs, Lucas, Francis, Smith, Johnson, Schaefer, and Ruhlman. Loose that time, coming through 3 and 4. But Franks wasn't ready to make a move at the time. As Davey Johnson, the 1J, trying to close in once again. Laps in, 91 laps in, 9 to go. Oh, Tim Hitt getting loose as he's got a little bit of problem on the 68. He's able to hold on to that 7th spot. Closing in, Fry with Frank still on his bumper, but here comes Davey Johnson and Ron Davies. Frank's trying the low side through 1 and 2. Not quite there yet for Chubb Franks as Bill Fry hangs on to the lead. Go down the back straight once again. Fry, Franks, Johnson, Davies, Moore, Geisler, Hitt, Hartman, Boggs, Francis, Lucas, Freddie Smith, Johnson, Schaefer, and Ruhlman. Looking to stick low groove and get underneath the 66 of Fry, but Fry won't let him use it. Fry keeping the 66 right down there low. Davey Johnson now looking to the outside of Chubb Frank. Decides that's not the place to do it, going into 3 and 4. Davis in the 71D, still running 4th. Then Moore in the 14 in 5th. Looky here, it's the white flag one more time. 99th lap. Into the last one. Can he do it? Bill Fry in the number 66. Out of 3 and 4. Here they come. Here's your winner. The number 66 of Bill Fry.
Hold on just 1 second. Racing tires. I think he changed cars all afternoon.
Help down here, please.
With the second place finisher, Chubb Frank. Chubb, if you're around, I'd like to have you up here in just a few minutes in the victory circle.
Flag, where to go?
Here it is. And I'll tell you what, good run.
Thanks. Bill did a good job. It was tough to get by him there. He was taking up, what he needed to do. We tried to move him out of the groove there last few laps, but he was good.
Well, Chubb, seemed the car worked great. You have to feel good about that rocket chassis here this afternoon. You had not a real great year, but I tell you, this has put a smile on your face, hasn't it?
Yeah, we haven't had the best of years, but I sure do like coming to Pennsboro.
I tell you what, Pennsboro's doing pretty good for you, isn't it?
Yeah, last couple of years.
Hey, Chubb, best of luck to the remaining part of the year. I tell you, great run here. I know you had a lot of fans up there pulling for you.
Thank you.
Chubb Frank, ladies and gentlemen, our second place finisher.
Don't break this time, man. Yeah, Summer, you ruined one.
Smith, congratulations, my man.
Thank you. It was, when we got here today and I spun out in time trials, I thought, man, this is going to be another bad day. But it worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to.
In time trials, you had a bad run. You went down into turns 1 and 2. I thought you made a serious mistake when you didn't go back and get a good run for it, but you still had a pretty good time. So the car you had to feel good that the car was pretty quick then in time trials.
Yeah, I felt real good. After I took off again, I knew I should have went back on the backstretch and got another run. But hindsight.
Well, let's talk about the race today. You got to start up front. Shoot up on McCreary Racing tires. That has been your claim to fame here. You've been with McCreary quite a few years, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been with them probably 5 years now. They've helped me a whole bunch, and I hope I've helped their program some.
The first time you came to the Pennsboro Speedway about 4 years ago on McCreary Racing tires. That day you really struggled. You changed tires one after another. Matter of fact, when you went in the pits, no one was there to change them. They just got tired of changing tire after tire, but they seem to work great today.
Thank you. Yeah, the tires worked great. The right rears wore out, and I think that's the way they're supposed to be in a 100-lap race, so it worked right.
What about the GRT Racing chassis? You've been with the GRT. Joe's got to feel great about it.
Yeah, the chassis, man, I couldn't ask for the car to handle any better. The tires, when it started cooling down, the sun went down, the tires started going away a little bit the last 15, 20 laps. But the car worked well all day.
Well, Chubb Frank keeping the pressure on. Did you think, man, am I ever going to get rid of this guy? I'm going to hear his motor the whole race? Well, you're running pretty much flat out or pretty much just trying to save that right rear tire.
We pretty well tried to save the tire. At times I'd run strong to see if I could, and when I could find out I'd pull away, then I'd back off a little, and he'd catch me quick, so I really couldn't fool around any.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill, great win. Congratulations. Glad to see you in Victory Circle. I know this is a good way to start off the big season, isn't it?
Yeah, we was real happy with this. We came up here, we went to Kentucky a couple nights and had some bad luck, and I feel a lot better about it now.
Well, I'll tell you, your first Stars win couldn't come at a better time. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about another nice round of applause for Bill Fry, your 1994 Good afternoon.
Yeah, pretty good. It's definitely hard on tires here today, PD, and you had to either choose to race the first 50 or kind of just sit and coast and save the best for last, and that's what we did. We're pretty happy with third.
Well, with Scott's right rear going down, then Freddie Smith, did you have any concern maybe it was time for yours to lose that air pressure?
Well, yeah, and that's why letting us run the radios here helped a lot. Saved a lot of accidents, I'm sure. People knowing that the tires are going down, the drivers knowing what's going on, you can be alert and ready for things like this. So it was a big plus.
Did you and your communication stay up pretty much all day on the tire situation, or were you going to go in if you just absolutely had to?
We talked about it, tossed around there 2 or 3 times about just coming in and maybe taking another look at how we was going to win this thing, but we decided to stay out there. We got to look at it there when we had the caution, so that's the best we could do today.
A great run for the new team.
Thank you.
Hey, Dave Johnson, a brand new race team, finishes up third.